Jaden was a young boy who grew up with every toy and gadget a child could want. But deep down, he felt something was missing. Jaden had everything money could buy, but yearned for the freedom and excitement that other children seemed to experience one day. Jaden's parents took him to the park where he met a girl named Sophia, who was playing with her friends. Sophia invited Jaden to join their game, as Jaden played with the other children. He realized that true happiness didn't come from material possessions, but from shared experiences and laughter. Jaden's time with his new friends made him realize his privileged upbringing had isolated him. He began to appreciate the simple things in life. Jaden continued to spend time with his new friends, learning the value of community and the true meaning of happiness. Material possessions do not measure true wealth, but by the connections and experiences we share with others. Remember to embrace the simple joys in life.
There is a 9-year-old kid sitting at his desk, and all of a sudden, he notices that his pants are wet. He is shocked. That has never happened before, and he knows that when the boys find out, they will laugh at him. If the girls find out, they'll never speak to him again as long as he lives. The boy believes his heart is going to stop. He puts his head down and prays, "Dear God, this is an emergency." He looks up from his prayer, and here comes the teacher looking like she discovered him. As the teacher is walking towards him, a classmate named Susie is carrying a goldfish bowl that is filled with water. Susie trips in front of the teacher and inexplicably dumps the bowl of water on the boy's lap. The boy pretends to be angry but whispers to himself, "Thank you, Lord." Now all of a sudden, instead of being the object of ridicule, the boy is the object of sympathy. The teacher rushes him downstairs and gives him gym shorts to put on while his pants dry out. At the end of the day, as they are waiting for the bus, the boy walks over to Susie and whispers, "You did that on purpose, didn't you?" Susie whispers back, "I wet my pants once too." There was a boy called Luis, who had a very short temper. One day his father gave him a bag of nails and said, "Why don't you hammer a nail every time you get angry?" Luis agreed and took the bag of nails. The first day, he had driven 41 nails into a fence. Over the next few weeks, as he learned to control his anger, the number of nails hammered daily gradually dwindled down. He discovered it was easier to hold his temper than to drive those nails into the fence. The father said, "Now that you have learned to control your temper, why don't you start to pull out a nail for each day you successfully control your temper?" Luis agreed. A few days later, all the nails were pulled out. The father took Luis to the fence and told him that he did a good job. But the fence is full of holes. It will never be the same. When you say things in anger, they leave a scar. It won't matter how many times you apologize. The wound is still there. Phil and Jason are playing in the garden when Phil's mom suddenly calls, "Phil, darling, come in and eat." Phil completely ignores her and continues to play. Then Jason asks him, "Don't you want to go in? Your mom called you." Phil replies, "I don't want to go in. She always has to be annoying." So they both carry on playing. After a few minutes, Jason asks again, "Don't you want to eat? Your mom's waiting." Phil shakes his head and says, "Man, my mom's annoying. Let's just keep playing." Then Jason says, "Can I eat with you? I'm hungry too." Phil rolls his eyes and says, "Okay, then let's go inside to my mom then." As they sit at the table, Jason says, "Thanks, Mrs. Tompkins, for letting me eat with you. Everything looks great." Out of nowhere, Phil suddenly shouts, "The food doesn't taste good and it's cold. You can't cook." Later that evening, as Jason is saying goodbye to Phil, he says, "Tomorrow I'm going to visit my mom. Do you want to come along?" Phil agrees. The next day, Jason takes Phil to his mom and says, "I wish my mom would call me for dinner or hug me in the evening and say goodnight. Be glad you have a mom. Enjoy it because you never know how long the people you love will be around."